I'm so pleased today to have Pastor J.D. Farag on the line with me from Hawaii and Pastor Jack Hibbs on the line with me from California. I'm just giving a quote here from my late friend Jack Kinsella. Oh, we lost such a tremendous commentator and thinker when Jack passed away a couple of years ago. And he said this in something he wrote, and how just to the point it is, even to the moment. He says, "We live in the most terrifying time of uncertainty in human history. The wrong move by the wrong guy could set off a chain of events that could potentially exterminate the human race. We have but a short time to spread the message of salvation, and it doesn't help if we are paralyzed by fear. The Lord knew the conditions that would exist just before his return, which is why Paul ends his explanation of the rapture with this exhortation, wherefore comfort one another with these words." 1 Thessalonians 4:16 through 18. And that's what all three of us participating today really want to do, is we do want to encourage you, comfort you that God has things under control from before the beginning of time. He knew how everything was going to play out in late 2016 and going forth. He had it all figured out. So we're just here trying to report some issues, facts, and give you some encouragement. I had teased, gentlemen, with just kind of wanting to touch on what you think, each of you. What are the eschatological highlights in your mind, Pastor J.D. Farag?
Two prophecies, the first of which is Isaiah 17, and the second of which is Ezekiel 38 and 39. To me, 2016 brought us so close to the fulfillment of these two prophecies. And I really believe that the Isaiah 17 prophecy concerning Syria will be a catalyst of sorts for the prophecy in Ezekiel 38. And this by virtue of the fact that Syria is conspicuously absent from the mention in the list of nations in Ezekiel 38. And so too, by the way, is Egypt. So too is Jordan. And astonishingly, so too is Iraq. I really see the Islamic State and their efforts, according to Islamic eschatology, to establish a caliphate in what they call the Levant, which is virtually the promised land.
That's right.
And this is why I believe, and you'll forgive me, but every time Barack Hussein Obama refers to the Islamic State as ISIL, it is a deliberate slap in the face of God and God's people, because the Levant, the L in his insisting on using that acronym, is the Levant, and it's the promised land. It belongs to Israel. And the Islamic State, I believe, is the catalyst that is bringing about the fulfillment of said prophecies.
Yes.
Well said, Pastor J.D. You can learn a lot more about what Pastor Farag teaches. Again, just go to YouTube. You can check out their Mideast Prophecy Update, Pastor J.D. Farag. And just a couple of weeks ago, J.D., in one day you had 40,000 listeners. Now, that's the day you made your I'm going to say, political statement, which basically comes down to we have to vote and take part in this process. No matter whether or not we're totally thrilled with the candidates or not, we still need to be a part of that process. And so tremendous outreach that he has there on YouTube, as long as YouTube remains free. And honestly, that is a question mark as well. Pastor Jack Hibb, tell me what you think here. You and Amir and you guys go at it all the time, analyzing, looking back, trying to figure out how certain events are fitting into what the Bible has to talk about. Tell me your thoughts on 2016.
I will agree and pick up where J.D. left off. Couldn't agree more with his chronology. I'm expecting Isaiah 17 to happen any day now. I'm expecting Ezekiel 38 to follow. The only thing that I'm waiting to preempt both those events is the rapture. Having said that, there's so much, Jan, and I'm not saying that to be silly. There is just so much. How about I throw this out there? I'm expecting a post-election, post-2016 issue to arise, such as I'm looking for more disturbances in the South China Sea with either North Korea or China to get the United States military looking to the deep west. At the exact same time, I'm expecting Russia to really, we haven't seen anything yet, we'll really see Russia stir things up in the Middle East to get the United States military looking east. To spread us so thin, a war-weary nation America is, I I also expect in this post-election season, especially with a Hillary election, a extreme manifestation of lawlessness when it comes to borders. A lot of people are underestimating, thinking this border issue is simply an American or a southern U.S. issue. It is a global issue. It's a global issue because, number one, the nations of the world right now, including the U.S., are leaderless. They're really leaderless. There is no prominent leader that stands out in the world right now other than Benjamin Netanyahu.
That's right.
Seriously. And so I'm expecting that if Hillary wins, there's going to be this floodgate of lawlessness, and I believe that right here at home, you're going to see an open border policy invasion of illegals that are going to be flooding across our borders, all of this adding to the disruption of nations. And I say that in the spirit of what we're watching with the Syrian refugee crisis, which is a joke. Very few of them, if any, are Christians. Most of them are men between 17 and 35 years of age, able-bodied warriors. Why? Because the refugee crisis in Europe has already proven to be a Trojan horse attack on Europe.
Yes, Europe certainly has gone godless in 60 years, frighteningly so, and it concerns me that America's heading in those same pathway, that same direction. Throw God out, welcome socialism, etc. Gentlemen, I think the thing that's on my mind is the surge of one world thinking. And again, depending on who wins our November election here in just a few days now, as I opened the program, Hillary Clinton is an ardent globalist, a one worlder to the core. We talked about that in the opening segment, and I just see this globalism rising and rising more so every day, including in Europe. They don't have borders in Europe. My goodness. Is that going to be the whole world? Here in the next few months or a few years?
If you're asking Jack, I believe the answer is right, Jan. I believe you're going to see an incredible, at breakneck speed, dissolving of international borders because it's an offense to the globalist. At the same time, I believe, this is just one reporter's opinion, just as we're leaderless, we're also in a world right now of economic failure. Look, let's be honest. We need leadership and we need a one world currency because everything's failing, everything's bankrupt. Right. The only thing is to zero out and restart and put the global economic world on a one currency system. This is perfect timing for the one world leader to arrive.